It's 7 a.m. on a cool, cloudy Monday morning in Victoria, British Columbia. January 10th, 2022. Ian Indridson makes some eggs in his kitchen, which faces out to the Salish Sea. He plays with his beautiful black lab Willow. She's getting up there, but still loves her little toys, which are scattered about the home. Ian's a senior government public affairs officer. It's the time of the morning when he would normally be getting ready for work. He brews a fresh pot of coffee for his wife, Gloria. Ian then pulls on the black galoshes he wears to walk Willow and walks out the door. That was 3 years ago, and Ian Indridson hasn't been seen since. I'm Laura Palmer, and this is Island Crime Season 7, Evaporated, Episode 1, Untethered. It's early on in my examination of Ian Indridson's story when I stumble on some research into missing person cases out of Japan. There, people who choose to voluntarily disappear are called jahatsu, which translates to evaporated people. Now, these are folks who vanish from their former lives, leaving no traces behind. The jahatsu have been the subjects of a documentary. They've made the news on the BBC and in Time magazine too. But somehow I've only now come across this term. The jahatsu make the decision to walk away from their problems by removing themselves from society. Some do so because they're depressed or battling addictions. Others are escaping work or family pressures. By cutting themselves off from their problems, they're able to build new lives. There have been claims that the number of jahatsu in Japan could be in the tens of thousands each year. There's even something of an industry set up to assist the jahatsu. They're called night movers, yonigiya, who exist to help people evaporate. One of the things I've learned after a few years now of looking into missing person cases is that anything is possible. That it's important to keep an open mind as to what could have happened and why. I can't get Ian's image out of my mind. His disappearance seems so strange. As I explore possible cases for this new season, I keep coming back to Ian. Shortly after Ian vanishes, I'm approached by a friend of Ian and Gloria's. But I'm neck-deep in another Victoria case. The abduction of 4-year-old Michael Dennehy. And at that point, I simply don't have the bandwidth to do anything else. But I remember looking at Ian's picture back then. He appears to be a healthy, middle-aged, middle-class man. He's 54. His salt and pepper hair is thinning. He wears glasses. He looks intelligent, kind, and capable.
Ian was a creature of habit, and I know he was totally head over heels in love for his wife, and he had his dog Willow, and
it seemed like he was super happy. I mean, his life, especially, when he married Gloria and all that, he seemed like a really happy in his marriage. And
I called them in my heart of hearts, I called them the lovebirds. They flitted around each other like Gloria and Ian.
He had like a soft side to him, not like macho man kind of person.
He just seemed like he was content.
But honestly, I'm so wrapped up in my work on the Dennehy file, I don't think about Ian again. That is until I receive another request, this time from Ian's wife. I'm hoping you will consider covering the case of my missing husband, Ian Indridson. Ian is a loving, rock-solid kind of guy. He's been a star employee of the BC government, one of the best writers in government communications for 25 years. He does not have a history of diagnosed mental health issues, and in the 17 years I've known him, he's never been depressed. He loves life, loves our home, loves his mother and siblings, and adores our sweet Labrador Retriever, Willow. I hope you're able to help us. Please.
Wide awake, all the memories are on replay. I reach for you, but you're thousands of miles away. Every heartbeat, every breath is filled with thoughts of you. I am so lost without you, and I don't know what to do.
I feel for Gloria. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in her shoes. I decide to take on Ian's case. So let's start at the beginning, with the day Ian vanishes, and what we know about the timeline. It's Monday morning, January 10th, 2022, and Ian Indridson is late for work. But Ian hasn't slept in. He hasn't woken up with the sniffles. Word that Ian Indridson is not just missing from work, but truly missing, is released as a news alert by the Victoria Police at about 10 a.m. Monday, January 10th, 2022.
Ian was described as a 54-year-old Caucasian man, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall with a slim build. He has short salt and pepper hair. Ian is believed to be wearing black sweatpants and rubber boots.
The picture accompanying the release shows a smiling Ian Indridson. He's got a cleft in his chin and nice dimples. He looks a little like Chevy Chase. Ian has a pleasant face. His glasses give him a bookish look. By this time, his colleagues have already begun to wonder why Ian isn't at the office.
My name is Hope Latham, and I am currently a communications manager in the government. I met Ian through work. I was a co-op student, and he was one of my mentors.
It's 10 a.m., and Hope is already hard at work.
I'm just plugging away on my computer, and I see on the bottom corner of the screen like an email come through from Vic PD, because I got all of their news releases, and it said, "Have you seen missing person Ian Indridson?" So they had spelt it wrong, but my immediate thought was, oh my goodness, someone with a similar name as Ian, because you just never think you're going to know someone kind of dealing with this. And then I clicked it, and then I just saw his face, and I don't know exactly like everything that happened like right away after that. I think I just panicked a bit, and I forwarded it to my director, and I said, "Have you spoke to Ian?" And I messaged my other coworker who received it as well, and we were very confused what was going on.
At around the same time, Tasha Skolin gets the same email alert from the Victoria Police Department.
And I opened it up, and it was a picture of Ian, that he was missing. And I was completely stunned. My name is Tasha Skolin. I am a public servant. I work for the BC government in communications, which is how I met Ian.
Tasha's a longtime friend of Ian's.
I mean, the first thing I did was I reached out to Ian's former boss because he was in a new job. I reached out to his former boss and said, "Oh my God, like, have you seen this? What is going on? Do you know anything about this?" And she had not seen the email yet, and she was as shocked as I was.
Hope jumps into action and runs to tell her boss the news.
And I bolted over to the office on the second floor. And Caroline, my director, was on the phone with my manager at the time. And they were talking, and I basically sprinted into her office. They were talking, and I could hear they were talking about Ian. And I heard one of them say, "Oh, he probably just took Willow for a walk. Maybe just got frustrated, need to calm down. Like, it'll be fine. We'll give him a call." So I'm kind of hearing a conversation go on, and I interrupted. I was like, "Caroline, I need you to look at your inbox." And she's like, She's like, it's fine. I've like spoke to I was like, Ian. And she's like, I've spoke to people. It's fine. I'm like, okay. And I continue hearing this conversation and I'm thinking, no, she doesn't really know what's going on. So when she got off the phone, she started talking to me and explaining what was going on. And I was on the 10th floor. Ian's office would have been on the 7th floor. And what Caroline thought is that I had been in the elevator in the morning and heard someone say, oh, Ian's missing. He didn't show up to work today.
Ian is supposed to be starting a new role. His new supervisor and his former supervisor are trying to figure out what's going on.
Because she simultaneously had a call from his new director. She was wondering if anybody had heard from Ian. I guess she had rang his wife because he hadn't logged on. And his wife just said, I don't know where he is. And that conversation ended. So Caroline thought I had spoken to somebody in the building who's just making rumors up. And I said, no, I need you to look at your computer right now. And so I think then she realized something was really wrong.
The team gets together for an update on the situation. Police are now at Ian's house, and he is, in fact, missing. Meanwhile, another colleague across town is learning about Ian's disappearance.
I'm Lara Harrell. So right now I'm the acting comms director at the Ministry of Post-Secondary Education and Future Skills. I vividly remember that because I was on a maternity leave at the time. And I just remember I was walking with my newborn son. I had been downtown doing some shopping. I live in James Bay. So I was walking beside the legislature, actually. So I got a text from my friend and she said, did you work with Ian? And I said, yes, I did. And she said, he's gone missing. There's a police alert that's just gone out. And I just remember being in shock about it.
As word spreads that Ian is missing, those who know and love him scramble to find him.
People started to go out and start searching.
My director and I, Caroline, we were two who were like, Kate, we're going to go out and search. We'll do the search party.
I couldn't focus on work. It was just so disturbing to think that something had happened to him.
We hopped in the car pretty quick and just drove close to by his house.
Caroline, by the way, is Ian's friend and his boss. She is one of the last people to speak with Ian before he vanishes, and one of the first people I try to speak with when I begin researching his case. Now, she gets back to me quickly, but asks that I give her some time. I suspect she'll be an important voice, and my timeline for gathering interviews is long, so I let her know I'll check back in.
We all sort of spread out in his neighborhood and we just started walking around and searching, looking in, public washrooms and down by the beach and that sort of thing.
My director had been texting Ian's phone and Gloria had been talking to us between that. And so we knew the family was on their way over. We knew she had people at the house. And so we essentially just started looking. We had no strategy. We were just kind of running around frantically. I kept running up to strangers on the beach, just, throwing a photo of Ian in front of them and saying, have you seen this person? And it was quite surreal.
We were trying to sort of get some idea of how to spread out and how to use the search wisely. I went down to Gonzales Beach and walked the beach, and because, that was fairly close to his house, and walked around that area. And I know other people went to, Beacon Hill Park. So it was really just about strategizing about the different areas that we could be looking and just what, if anything, anybody had heard or anybody knew. I just remember just being completely blown away. I don't think anybody foresees somebody going missing. It was just really shocking.
Ian's colleagues, his people, are the first on the ground searching for him. You can hear in their voices the dismay, the shock. These are government employees. Ian has been shoulder to shoulder with them in the trenches for years. Victoria has been the backdrop for other seasons of Island Crime. You've probably heard me describe it as a tourist town, filled with charm and history. And it's also a government town. Ian's colleague Lara mentions she's walking her new baby in front of the legislature when she learns of Ian's disappearance. You've likely seen the stunning BC Parliament buildings on postcards. The neo-Baroque building was designed by architect Francis Rattenbury and completed in 1897. The front, facing out to the inner harbor, is one of the city's most recognizable architectural symbols. I'm especially fond of the ledge at night, when the building is lit to highlight its splendid silhouette. Victoria is the seat of government, and so roughly half of BC's 35,000 public servants live in Victoria. Ian Indridson is just one of thousands of public servants who make this place tick. But after 25 years, he's at the top of his game, and no one could have ever foreseen that Ian Indridson, a buttoned-down bureaucrat, would be at the center of this unfolding drama. Ian's home sits on a pretty street on the southeast tip of Vancouver Island. The golf course and Gonzales Point are just east of the home Ian and his wife Gloria once shared. This is a part of Victoria I've never visited before. It's just a few minutes to downtown from the Ledge building and the inner harbor. But honestly, it feels so different. The morning I visit is a bright, warm day. People are out walking their dogs, riding their bikes. Things Ian, too, enjoyed doing in his lovely neighborhood. The houses on Ian's side of the street look out towards the ocean, to Gonzales Bay, the northern shore of the Juan de Fuca Strait. Gonzales Bay used to be known as Foul Bay. Foul is a nautical term, meaning the bay has a bad bottom for anchoring. The American border is close by. The MV Coho makes a daily trip across the strait, just 22 nautical miles down to Port Angeles. Ian's home is a pretty little pale yellow one-story bungalow, built in 1945. It's an unassuming building with a small front yard filled with nicely trimmed hedges, plants, and shrubs. I arrive early and pull up across the street. I stand outside Ian's home and observe the first of many indications that Ian is a dog lover. The brass door knocker on the wooden door is the shape of a Labrador Retriever. Ian's wife, Gloria Mendez, slowly opens the door, just a crack, peering out cautiously with deep brown eyes. I've caught Gloria a little off guard. She's folding laundry in a front room. Ian's dog Willow comes to the door to welcome me. I learn Willow is celebrating her 12th birthday, so I'm glad I brought treats. I'm a dog person. I will almost always have treats. But today, I'm thankful I stopped and bought some posh ones for the birthday girl. Gloria is dressed casually in a deep purple top and a purple fleece vest. Later, she pulls on a beautiful blue flowing cardigan over top. Despite the warmth in the home, she appears chilled. This home is sad. There's a heaviness here that not even a bright ocean view can erase.
Oh, I should have warned you not to wear white socks.
Doesn't matter. Oh my God, my house is just covered. I have a cat as well, so.
Oh, goodness.
The dog, the cat. The house is older. There are smaller rooms filled with artifacts of Ian and Gloria's life together. There's a wall of jigsaw puzzles, cozy couches they curled up on and read in the comfortable quiet. The walls are covered with paintings and pictures. Gloria's grandmother was a talented artist, and so too was Ian. There's a picture he sketched of Willow prominently displayed on his front office wall. There are lots of family pictures, and a wall of wedding photos from the day Ian and Gloria were married. There's books, too. Stacks and stacks and stacks of books, piled high under coffee tables, lining nooks set into the walls. The morning Ian vanishes is a Monday, January 10th. Now, I always feel a little off-kilter in the period after the holidays. It can be kind of disorienting, and January 10th of 2022 would have felt even stranger still. The world is emerging from a period of pandemic shutdowns. Students here are headed back to school, and yet infections remain at an all-time high. The variant Omicron is very much in the air. Other headlines that morning are gloomy as well. Gas prices are high. Comedian Bob Saget has been found dead after hitting his head in his Florida hotel room after a show. It would seem there's not too much to laugh about that morning. As I stand in Ian's kitchen, the last place Ian is known to have been on January 10th, 2022, I'm thinking about all of this. What is on Ian's mind that morning? Where did he go and why? And most importantly, could Ian still be alive? Gloria and I make ourselves comfortable in their living room. Willow lays down beside me on one of her plush beds and listens as Gloria describes the morning her husband Ian disappears.
Normally, Ian would get up early, earlier than me, and because he is just, under normal circumstances, a fairly light sleeper. Willow has always slept in the kitchen, had always at the time. Now she sleeps in the bedroom with me. But at the time, it was her room, like she would sleep in the kitchen, you know? And so Ian would get up earlier and go take her out in the yard and give her her breakfast and then come wake me up at about 7:30. That morning, I kind of sort of woke up and I heard him playing with Willow in the kitchen with her toy. I heard the toy bouncing, right? And I heard Willow's toenails on the kitchen floor. I remember closing my eyes from one moment. Next thing I know, I wake up on my own at 7:50. I come out of the bedroom. Ian is not anywhere around. Like, obviously, he hasn't woken me up at 7:30. He's not in the house. I go in the kitchen. Willow is on her little dog bed, just like, what's going on? You know, that little look on her face. And I know she's been fed because she is a lab. Of course she's been fed. If she hadn't been fed, I would know it. And I see there's a dirty pan on the stove. So Ian made himself a couple of eggs like he did every morning. There's a dirty, empty coffee cup on the kitchen island, which tells me Ian warmed himself some day-old coffee before making a full pot, because there's a full, freshly brewed pot of coffee on the counter too. He's not there.
This mention of Ian making his eggs as he does every morning is significant. I will learn Ian is very much a creature of habit. That's a term I hear from a number of people close to Ian Indridson. It makes what happens that day all the more puzzling.
He didn't take a jacket. As far as I could tell, he was wearing the galoshes he used to take just basically for very short walks or to take Willow out in the yard. I mean, not sturdy, long walking shoes or anything, right? Your basic fisherman's rubber boots. I mean, we each had a pair to take Willow to the beach, right? And I know that Ian wore them to just take her out in the yard or occasionally to go for a short walk with us.
So wallet, phone.
Wallet is in his side jacket that's hanging in the hall at the time. Phone is on the hall table where he always left it. Keys are in his pocket as well. He hasn't taken anything else.
And passport or anything like that?
Passport was here.
Right. And does he only have the one passport?
Yes.
Gloria is answering these questions to the best of her ability. They have been together for about 17 years. She thinks she knows Ian well. But how well can we ever really know anyone, even those closest to us? That's a question I will return to over and over in this season. Ian hasn't been sleeping well. He's been experiencing insomnia for days. Gloria immediately senses something is off. She panics and calls the Victoria Police, and the hunt for Ian Indridson is on. Urban search and rescue are deployed. Ian's public service colleagues are scouring the area around his home and close by parks and coastline. Ian's community is now desperate to do what they can to bring him home safely.
My name is David Carlos, and I am a drone service provider and technologist here in Victoria, BC.
David Carlos doesn't know Ian Indridson, but he is drawn into this search.
Yeah, I remember that case quite distinctly because it was such a abnormal disappearance in our community. And so I saw the picture of the guy and his grieving family and his wife, and I don't know, you imagine, what if that was me, right, or my family, and something like that happened to. Like, I think a missing case is probably got to be the worst, where you don't know what happened, where they left you no clear answer. It's ambiguous.
David is on the case soon after Ian vanishes.
It was right when the family was in shock and dealing with that very difficult scenario that I went up to the house where he first disappeared.
David has been involved in training local police, getting them equipped with a drone for accident investigation. So when he's asked to do an aerial search using his drone, David volunteers his time to help. The search is authorized and approved by the Victoria Police.
I know that area very well. It is in a controlled airspace with aircraft flying around, so we have to coordinate with Nav Canada in order to clear an airspace for the drone.
David and his drone will be able to cover terrain that the humans searching on the ground can't see clearly. But before he sends his drone up into the air, David collects as much intel as possible to help give his search some direction.
I just gathered a bit of information as well. I mean, I have a bit of a background in criminal justice, so I had sort of that frame of mind of thinking, trying to get into the case a little bit, to read a little bit about the case in the background, to understand where is the best areas to search and to place our resources when we're doing this search and rescue operation. And so the immediate area was of interest. It was right on the ocean. And so our immediate focus was scouring the coastline of the area to see if there was anybody along the coast. And so that's where we started the search. And so with the drone, I was able to scour the whole beach line where the tide would flow around Trial Island.
The Trial Islands are a group of small islands located off the southeastern tip of Vancouver Island. It's now an ecological reserve, but it came by its name as it was a place to test out ships in a trial run rounding the islands and entering the Juan de Fuca Strait. It's a challenging course with rip tides and prevailing westerlies. The possibility that Ian has gone into the sea by accident or by choice is something I know I'll need to consider as I examine Ian's case.
So I took pictures of all of that area with high-definition photographs so that we could do a preliminary search to see if we saw anything right off the bat, and then a post-flight operation to go over the images in more detail to see if we saw anything that stood out.
I've heard about drones being used in missing person cases before, but this is the first opportunity I've had to speak with someone who operates one. Drones have come a long way in recent years. David's drone isn't the kind of little recreational drone I've watched my nephew play around with. This is a much bigger, more sophisticated piece of equipment. The drone David will employ to search for Ian is a multi-rotor, heavyweight drone. It weighs about 40 pounds and has 4 large blades on it. The unit would cost more than $20,000. Not a toy. I've had the opportunity to be out on a boat in the sea around Vancouver Island. I love the ocean, but I'm also very aware of just how dangerous it can be.
It's very unforgiving terrain in terms of the sea. I'm a boat operator as well, like a commercial approved small craft boat operator as well. And so the sea, I always try to say, is very unforgiving. It's moving all the time. There's currents, there's whirlpools, there's all kinds of hazards on the sea. And so they lived right on the sea, the ocean of the Juan de Fuca Strait outside of Victoria. Very rocky. It's not some sandy beach. Yeah, no, it's rocky. It's big boulders, cliffs, drop-offs, and caves even.
David's drone enables him to look for Ian off that rugged coast and beyond. He understands just how fast the tide moves and opts to extend the search along the beach a few kilometers down in either direction to see if anything could be found.
If there was a body or if there was somebody trying to survive, it wouldn't be easy to detect through conventional ground searches. It's very difficult terrain from the air, and so there's many different colors, many different shapes, right? And some debris, like there was some things that stood out on the initial aerial search. I think we found like a jacket, some item of clothing, some other kind of personal belonging that could have been suspicious in that area.
David is checking for something that could look out of place. Something that would provide a clue related to Ian's disappearance. After that initial scan, David provides geotagged information to anything that raises questions for him and hands that information over to police investigators so they can take a look to see if it's of any interest to them.
Then I focused a search over the ground around the perimeter of the area, and they're close to Ross Bay Cemetery, which is a big park nearby with lots of places to hide. Doing an aerial search, we can detect things that you might not detect on the ground. And there, at one point, we kind of got a bit excited and found somebody that looked a bit like him and was kind of wandering aimlessly around that area. And so I alerted the authorities to that.
I know exactly the place David's describing here. I spent some time exploring this cemetery, knowing that there had been a possible sighting of Ian. I'll get into that later in the series. David tells me it's his understanding the police were initially interested in this sighting, but he doesn't know what, if anything, came of this possible lead. Could David's drone have captured an image of Ian wandering in the Ross Bay Cemetery? If so, it would be one of the very few sightings of Ian Indridson after he vanishes the morning of January 10th. The next sighting I learn about is uncovered by a close friend of Gloria's. As luck would have it, Gloria's dear friend is arriving in Victoria the morning Ian vanishes. Priya Mani is a professor of psychological counseling at the University of Manitoba. She calls Gloria to let her know she's arrived in town. And when Priya doesn't hear back immediately, she just assumes Gloria's busy. But then
I learned that Ian disappeared on the day I arrived. I mean, it's sort of massive amount of disbelief. You kind of go, oh my God, like, is this really happening? I guess maybe the right word is sort of a bit of shock.
Priya's friendship begins with Gloria. But over the years, she's grown close to both Gloria and Ian, even living with them for a time. So she puts her plans on the back burner and jumps into the search with both feet.
I needed to know that I could do something. I felt compelled to help. I wanted desperately to do something because I could only imagine the amount of pain that Gloria was going through.
Priya joins both the neighborhood search group and the search organized by Ian's colleagues. She tells me that although these are civilian-based groups, they're doing their very best to correspond with each other, logging areas they've searched and submitting the information to police.
It also encompassed, of course, flyers, putting them up, and talking to people, stopping people and talking to them and mentioning a little bit more about Ian. And sometimes you'd bump into people who actually knew Ian and hadn't heard the news yet.
Priya is reaching deep into Ian's community, talking to countless people, touching base with hospitals and churches. She's connecting with various social services too. She wonders if anyone in Victoria's transient community has seen Ian, and finds herself at Our Place Society, a nonprofit which has been helping Victoria's poorest for more than 50 years. It's here that Priya meets someone who may have seen Ian Indridson.
And one individual had said that they thought they had seen Ian at the soup kitchen.
Did you have the sense that he was, I know it's hard to say like how certain anyone could be, but did he say like, yeah, I saw that guy, or what, or maybe I saw that guy, or what was it like?
It felt like it was a possibility, if that makes sense. Like it sounded like he looked like there was an awareness, like there was a pause and an awareness, and then he said it, right? So I took it quite seriously because it wasn't like he was glib. It wasn't like he was just speaking without really thinking it through.
Priya wants to put up posters of Ian here too, but she tells me she meets with some resistance.
And that was sort of heartbreaking because I realized, after I finally had the chance to talk to a director after multiple attempts of trying to get in touch, just to be told that they couldn't accept the flyer because he's an adult, and as an adult, it's a way of protecting someone's privacy if they choose to be missing.
I reach out to the folks at Our Place for clarification here, and I get an immediate response back from their CEO, Julian Daly. He writes, "We do allow posters to be put up re-missing people, but we do not pass on any information to family members or friends, as often people don't want to be found, and it would be a breach of their confidentiality if we were to share that. We do also take messages for people, and will pass on to individuals if we know them. But again, it's up to the individual to connect with the family or friends if they choose." So, was Ian disappearing into Vancouver Island's homeless community? And if so, why?
What am I not thinking, Laura? You probably name it, I probably thought it. I don't know, I mean, did he have a health episode? Or something? But again, then where is he, right?
You always want to have hope that maybe he could be found. Maybe he's in distress somewhere. You start going through all these things, and that's what we're trying to uncover, and try to solve that mystery.
I think your mind, when somebody just vanishes, goes through a dozen or more different scenarios of what may or may not have happened. I totally understand not giving up hope and hoping for the best. And I know there have definitely been stories around the world, down in the States, of people vanishing for many years at a time and then all of a sudden surfacing. And I mean, that would absolutely be the best case scenario. It definitely has weighed on my mind, and I know many of his friends and work colleagues the same, right? Like, just being at a complete loss as to how this could have happened and what happened.
It's a big world when you look at the population and how you can blend in or change your appearance, dye your hair, grow facial hair or what have you. Like, it's so conceivable to blend in or to change your name or whatever if somebody wants to disappear for whatever reason. Right? The imagination's the limit. The Ian case mixed with the absolute puzzling aspect about where he went and why he went there.
And you realize it makes no sense, and you just trust your gut, and your gut tells you, no, he walked, and he walked, and he walked.
Then I learned something that throws me for a bit of a loop. Gloria tells me that when Ian leaves his home, he takes with him 2 kitchen knives, a larger one and a small knife with a serrated edge. He also takes a rechargeable flashlight. It's possible he has also brought along a small shot glass of sentimental value, and likely a shopping bag as well. Ahead in episode 2. Boring bureaucrat. I'll be honest, that's the Ian Indridson I saw when I first looked at his missing person poster. He's a senior government public affairs officer, a happily married man. His colleagues describe him as a creature of habit. But in the next episode of Evaporated, you'll hear about another side of Ian Indridson, a side that raises questions about where Ian went that day and why. Ian was fascinated by stories of people who chose to walk away from their ordinary lives.
Thought I'd share a list of some of my all-time favorite books by and about hermits and others who chose, in some cases, quite a bit of social distancing. An Island Unto Itself, The Man Who Quit Money, The Stranger in the Woods, Once Upon an Island, Caribou Cowboy, The Curve of Time.
I'm Laura Palmer, and this is Island Crime Season 7, Evaporated, the case of Ian Indridson. If you have information about the disappearance of Ian Indridson, please call 250-995-7654, extension 1. Please reference Vic PD file number 221017.